You are tuned into another episode of Conversations with Funeka, and today we have a very special guest, Jabulani Mathebula, and he is a finalist in the Mr. South Africa 2021 competition. But before we obviously get into everything about Jabu, please just tell us a bit more about yourself, what your passions are, where you're from.
Thank you, Funeka, for having me. I have to say, it's really wonderful to be here. And as you already said, Jabulani Mathebula, I was born and bred in Port Elizabeth, grew up as Zwide, and I studied Enzondelelo. I've always been a vibrant young person. I've been active, I play around, I love singing, I'm into music, I love activities. I'm just a hands-on person, and I love modeling. It's always been one of my passions growing up. Right now, I'm currently leading, or I started an NPO, which is all about grooming young girls into not just modeling, but we're just basically grooming them for future. They can be teachers, doctors, public speakers, models, pageants. Basically, we just groom them wholeheartedly. And the aim for that is to actually extend to boys as well. We will be taking young men as well. It's not just for girls anymore, because the dream, expanded.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We're going to include young men on that as well.
Now, Jabu, you're obviously a very multi-talented person, and you have done so many things to get to where you are today. I mean, even being a Mr. South Africa finalist, that already is a major step. Now, I just want to know, you worked at a bank and you started a hair and nail salon at that time. What led you into deciding that, I want to open a salon?
I think beauty has always been something that was within me. Growing up, my mother, like when we were still growing up, when we were young, perm was the in style. So my mom used to do perm, and she was a professional, so she taught me how to do that. And we used to fight a lot, because at times I would have to do her hair, and she wasn't taking no nonsense from no one.
Why were you making mistakes?
I was making a lot of mistakes. I mean, I'm a 13-year-old boy. I want to
I
and she's teaching me perm, and she still wants perfection, so
From a 13-year-old, mind you.
So she taught me that. So I grew up with that. I grew up amongst a lot of women who cared about what they were wearing, what they looked like, their hair, makeup, and all of that. So I grew up into that, and it became one of my favorite things as I was growing up. So even though I was working for a bank, I was still doing hair on the side, weekends and all of that.
Yeah.
I did have time. And it felt more appealing to me to do and live by my passion, because it propelled me to wake up the next day. I wanted to wake up because I wanted to do hair.
Can I just ask, is the salon still running, like even today?
I wouldn't call it a salon, but it's a freelance salon, if I may call it. I still here and there do braids, wigs here and there. So yeah.
So you are the person, girl, we must call. We must call Gamos when we need to lay our edges.
Yes.
Clearly. So Jabune, a few months ago, there was a story that trended about a young girl, Lufuno. We're obviously not going to put the video up because we want to be sensitive towards the families. She was bullied, and then the video obviously went viral. And as a result of that bullying, she committed suicide. And you recently posted as well on your Instagram how you related with that, and how your mother would know that every Friday when you go home that you will have been beaten up at school. Now, what psychological and emotional effects did that have on you?
That had the greatest negative impact on my life, as it would any person.
Yeah.
That, when it happens, affects you sometimes when you're 28 years old and you're acting a certain way, people do not understand. And sometimes you don't understand either. You just think that's just the person that you are. And that's
just how they are.
Yes, that's just how they are. And it's actually repercussions of activities or events or things that have actually taken place in your life years before. I was bullied a lot because growing up I was the odd boy out.
Yeah.
I didn't walk like all the other boys. I didn't talk like all the other boys. I didn't dress like all the other boys. I wanted to play with girls. Sorry, I wanted to be the best girl there was around, and I wasn't even a girl. And I wanted the best dolls. If we were modeling, I wanted to model with girls. So I was the odd one out. So I always was victimized by my friends because that's the only or the first thing that I would run to when they don't want me to play. You don't even know where you belong. You don't even know what you are. Those things, even if it was not necessarily beating, like physically, but words came into play. And what I've noticed is that bullying doesn't stop. We might think because it ended when I was 25. No, it doesn't stop. I recently experienced it with one of my colleagues. When we were having a disagreement, and it immediately went to me being gay, and that's how I was acting, and it had nothing to do with anything. But because people will always point out your weakness or something that they deem is your weakness to put you down so that they become victorious or win the conversation, you see, or the argument. So it doesn't really stop. It grows with you. But when you grow, you then decide how it affects you. Yeah. Because growing up, I had to fight a lot because now I have to constantly be in defense. I have to defend myself. At school, if I don't get the highest marks, then, so I needed to make sure, or at work, I needed to be the best employee because people will start judging you. Yeah, he's gay, that's why he's not getting good marks. He's gay, that's why he's not a good employee. Those are the things that you face every day. So you growing up, I had to fight a lot of people that were calling me gay.
Just to be yourself.
Just or to get respect in a room. I had to be in an argument, I had to swear at people. So you get used to that. That becomes your mechanism. But now, I cannot be going around beating people and fighting people at this day and age. I can't do that. So now, I had to sit with myself. I'm the victim of this, but now I have to sit with myself and I have to decide what's best for me and decide that, okay, you know what, this is how this is how I'm going to act in these situations and this is what I'm going to take out. You see, so it affects you your entire life. It affects you at home, it affects you at work, it affects you everywhere. So that's why I was able to relate with Ulufuna, because when I read her story, the first day I cried because I saw myself in her. It took me back to a place where I remember this one day I came back from school and I laid down next to my mother's door and my body was sore. I was in so much pain because I had been beaten up. So it affects you. It affects you. You get to a place where some people were actually judging Ulufuna. Well, why would you even take your life? Because you don't know up until you
detrimental effects.
How it affects. I've been in such instances. So it affects you. It affects you. You just have to decide for yourself when you grow that, okay, fine, this is not how it's going to affect me. This is how it's going to affect me. And when you make that decision, you cannot turn back. You can't just decide today, no, because it's Friday, I'm going to whip that person's ass. No. It has to remain. Your decision has to be constant in whatever situation or whatever day or whatever mood you are in. You have to deal with the same or different types of bullying the same way with the same result.
And now, having gone through that experience, obviously that was when you were younger, Jabu, and you said it even happens from time to time, even in the workplace. How did you overcome the bullying? Seeing as it didn't end just when you finished school. How did you personally overcome it? Was it a change of attitude or?
By being the best version of me that I can be. That's the only That's the only trick. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. If we're playing soccer here right now, be the best soccer player that you can
be for yourself.
Be the best one in the team. Just be the best one you can be and know that you're giving it all. And let me tell you, people will start noticing.
Yeah.
Be the best version. I started becoming the best version of myself.
Did it not strip down your confidence? Sorry about that.
It did. It did.
And your self-esteem.
Remember, before you get to that a certain level of confidence, you have to, it rips all your confidence away. Then you are left with nothing, and then you start building. And then when you build again, you build stronger walls, you build stronger relations, you build a stronger self-esteem. That's why it becomes difficult then for people to break you. Because now, you can say whatever you want. Just wash this off. Because what I have is what I've got. So you don't have control over it. You see? So it strips you down.
Yeah.
But being the best version of yourself and having your own approval, no one else's, no one can take that.
I love that. And what advice would you give, though, to young people, Jabu, that are being bullied? Because remember, there's also that fear of victimization. You know, those things being called a tattletale, a snitch. And it's something that happens really. There's an influx of bullying that's really happening in schools now. So what can you maybe say to a young person who's thinking, who's being bullied? What can I do?
Okay. One of the things that my other friend used to say a lot, and it was funny, and I think it was actually very true. He looked at me and he used to say that even Jabu, you would have never survived in 1976.
Hey!
When? Because when you are a tell-it-all. If we were to put a tire there and say we're going to burn you, when are you just going to spill? Whether you don't hold anything. That's what I never did. I never used to hold anything. I don't care whether you victimize me, I will go tell. And then I come back and then you get beaten or you victimize me again. I will go tell again. I will go tell again until something happens. Because I feel that no one has that much power over anyone else. No one has that much authority over anyone else. So the best thing for me, or the best thing or best advice, tell someone.
Yeah.
Speak
up.
What happens after, you will deal with that at that particular moment. But right now, tell someone, do something, because it starts with you not telling anyone.
And there's power in speaking out.
It starts with you not telling anyone. By not telling anyone, you've immediately given that other person the power over you. Because now they can go around, because they know you're not going to tell anyone. They're going to come back and
going to hold it in.
To do it again, because they know you're not going to do anything about it. Tell your mom. Tell your teacher. Tell whoever. Tell. Don't keep quiet. Never. Never. Under no circumstances must you keep quiet. What they do to you after that, we will deal with that at that particular moment. But then again, remember, what they do after that will prove that you were right in the first place.
Yes. And at the end of the day, you are the individual that is being victimized.
Exactly. You need to stand up for yourself.
And I'm a firm believer of that. You know, Jabu, rather speak out. Now, if you could go back to your younger self, what would you say to that person?
Keep doing what you're doing, it's going to be okay. I feel that everything that I've been through and that I've done, the ways that I've acted, I would not have been proud of some moments. Oh God, I could change a lot of moments, but you know what? I feel like I fought a good fight. Because today I'm sitting here and saying all these things. And today I'm saying these things that are going to help others.
Yes.
I would not change a thing.
And
Jabu, that boy was a good boy.
Yeah.
That boy was a fighter. That boy had so much strength. The only thing that I could go back and say was just to affirm that to him. Because sometimes we know we've got the capabilities, we just need the affirmation. I think that's the only thing that I needed at that particular time. So I would go back and say, it's going to be okay. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone get the better of you. Keep on doing what you're doing.
And you know, a person even talking to you now, you can see that you've literally built up, it's inside of you, that self-confidence. And you know what? It radiates even in the way you speak and the boundaries you've also created around yourself to be like, we can have a conversation, but also don't disrespect me and the person that I have chosen to be today. And speaking of self-identity and being true to who you are as an individual, how comfortable are you with your identity as a member of the LGBTQ community? And what are some of the factors behind your decision to be out with certain people and to actually refrain from telling others?
The best thing about me is that I never really had to come out to anyone.
Yeah.
I think that was the greatest gift God gave me. Because we find people that are struggling.
Yes.
Because they don't know whom to tell, they end up hurting other people, and then it becomes a ripple effect, like it has a domino effect, because now I'm going to tell this person that I'm going to end up hurting this girl now, because now I have to get married to her, have a kid, now I'm hurting the kid, now I'm living a lie, and it becomes, you know, the greatest thing for me was that my dad is Zulu, you know how Zulu men are, they, you know,
strength.
You know, I remember, I don't know how old I was. I can't remember how old I was. I went into, it was my dad and my sister. He wanted to buy us like pajamas.
Okay.
And when we got there, I refused. I wasn't going to get pants. I wanted a nice and beautiful pink night dress with a bear holding flowers. I wasn't going to get anything else, and my dad did not understand, and I refused. I was hanging on to those rails like dear life. He had to buy it because I wasn't going out of that shop
until,
and he needed to explain why he could not get it for me. And unfortunately, every time he tried to explain, it was not good enough for me. So he ended up having to forget about
just purchases,
and he had to buy what I wanted. So I've always been that boy. So for me, it was the greatest gift that I didn't have to come out to anyone. This is me, this is who I am. What you make of it is entirely your business. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Good.
I'm comfortable in the person that I am, and you really don't owe anyone an explanation when it comes to that.
Especially for being yourself.
Especially for being, because there's no other job out there. Like this is the me that I know. So that was the greatest gift for me. I didn't even have to come out. So.
And you should never apologize for being who you are. Never do that. That's when everybody can just walk all over you. It just don't do it, rather. And that's why I say I love your confidence and the person that you've grown in today, because you are Yazbana, I'm Ujabu, and this is who I am. And I'm not going to change to fit certain societal norms or to fit what your expectations are of me. This is who I am. I'm going to be the best person that I can be. It's either you accept that version of who I am. And so I really, really love that, to be quite honest. But having faced discrimination, you know, and rejection, maybe possibly from some places at school as well, were there any specific coping mechanisms that you used?
The coping mechanism for me at school was to be a good student.
Yeah.
We are here to study, so I might as well do the best that I can when it came to my books. So even if you didn't like me, I know math. So at the end of the day, when you fail math, who are you going to ask for assistance when the teacher's not available? You know? So for me, it has always been, it goes back to being the best version of yourself. So for me, I grew up wanting to be the best that I can be. At school, I got good marks.
Yeah.
If I can say, I can pride myself on that. Because I didn't really focus on everything else that everybody else was doing. As I thought, okay, let me just focus on what I need to do. Let me do what I have to do, and that was it. And it paid off. When I started working, I remember working for a bank. When I started working, I needed to be the best employee I could be at that particular moment. And it actually paid off because you had people that actually came into the branch and they looked for you because they knew if he does stuff, everything is going to be perfect, you know. So you always strive to be the best. So for me, coping mechanism has always been be the best version that you can be. It gives you comfort because at the end of the day, they can bully you.
Yes.
They can do all the things they want to do to you. They can even compliment you. But when you go to bed at night, who are you taking with? Yourself. So when you are happy with yourself, you sleep better at night. So I needed to be better and happy with myself for me to be able to carry on. So that has always been my thing.
And you know, it works. Be the best version of yourself. That's why I was so drawn in when you kept saying that. And I think that should just even be a reminder to the viewers at home if they are facing any certain circumstances, people that are bullying them, calling them names, be it at school or in the workplace. Like Jabu said, just continue in whatever area that you are placed in life. Just be the best version of yourself. You don't need to be the best person in the team, just the best person for yourself. That's it. Now let's take it to Mr. South Africa. Congratulations. We are there. Congratulations once again. That is honestly a great achievement. Now, Jabu, when the official results came out announcing the top 60 finalists, you ranked not only you ranked in the top 3. How did you feel in that moment? And I actually remember also watching that video. When I was watching that video, I was like, okay, when am I going to see Jabu's name? 3rd place. And that obviously comes from accumulating marks, activities, and things like that. How did you feel ranking in the top 3 for such a prestigious competition?
I screamed like a girl. Trust me, that's not a word of a lie. I screamed. I'm sure, but like 2 people didn't hear me from this. That's how I screamed. I screamed like a little girl. I remember how frustrated I was the night before.
Why? Stress?
I was stressing. I'm not a perfectionist, but I am a perfectionist in a way. So I'm thinking, I'm going to disappoint a lot of people. A lot of people have put in so much work. Because, when I started this, it has always been a dream of mine. But I didn't follow through.
Yeah.
And then it started being a dream of others. And then I started following through. And when I applied, more people came to the 4th and they were like, I'm rooting for you. Yeah. Imagine when you're walking into a mall and a person that you've never even seen comes to you and says, you look familiar. And it's even worse now because we're wearing masks. They're like, you look familiar. Are you not the guy who entered Mr. SA? And you're like, yes, I am. I'm rooting for you. Now you can imagine the pressure of all these people rooting for you and you don't make it into the top 60. So that morning I said, I'm not getting out of bed. And then we have a WhatsApp group. Usually only the admins talk on the group. They closed it. That morning they opened it. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to talk to these guys. The guys were pouring their... Like, I'm so nervous.
Because it is nerve-wracking.
This is not helping. And then they sent the video just like literally 5 minutes before they posted it. I'm sitting on my bed.
Watching to see if your name will come up.
If my name is coming up. And I'm so comfortable in the 50s and 40s. And then, let's be honest, it's a competition. When you look at the people, you're like, he's handsome. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's that comparison.
She's got a good profile. And now all these names are coming up at number 21 and number 19 and number 11. I'm like thinking, what the hell is going on here? There is no way I'm in the top 10. There's like literally no way. And then 10, 9, 8, and then number 3, Jabulani Mathebula. I lost it. Literally. I lost it. I didn't even know who number 2 and number 1 was until later on that day when I was calm and said, okay, fine, you know what, let's go and see who these
Let's watch.
Before that, I didn't care.
You saw that, okay, we top 60. Let me now
And it's, you know, it stopped being about in the top 60. Now you can actually see your capabilities. In the top, it stopped being about it being in the top 60. It's in the top 3 for this month. That's, for me, that's a huge achievement. It says a lot.
It does.
It says 2 things. Because remember, the judging goes in 2 ways.
Yeah.
There's the public vote.
Yes.
So, which means the people have to vote.
Of course.
Okay. And then there's different challenges or assignments that they give you.
I thought as much.
Okay. So, they take out of 10 on this and 10 out of that, and they combine those 2 and then they give you a score. Now, it says a lot about you. It says that you have a following, first of all.
That supports you.
People are using their hard-earned cash for you. People
and they
are spending time and going out of their way to vote for you. Because remember, it's one thing to say, I'm behind you, and then you sit at home and fold your arms and not vote. I don't have control over that. But people are loyal because they're voting. It shows.
It shows.
Now it's like, wow. And it says a lot about you, because now the only thing that you have control over is the challenge. Because you did a great job in your challenge. And then you sit back and you're like, okay, so I've got this.
Yeah.
I've got this. And you're like, wow. For a moment, for an hour, you're like, yeah, and you're screaming and you're excited, but you sort of calm down and you start reasoning and you're like, okay, this is really happening. And now you can't wait for the next challenge. And now you already put yourself under pressure for the next challenge, because now you want to make sure.
You want to continue.
You know? So it's exciting.
And you know, you mentioned something that I honestly related to a lot, because remember now, they're announcing the top 60. And you just said to me now, I didn't even think that I will rank in the top 10. But so I think it goes to that thing of, don't rule yourself out. Because you don't know that power that lies within you. For the fact that you made it into the top 10, not even the top 10, actually in the top 5, it means the judges see something in you. The people that are actually behind Ujabu, that are supporting you, they see something in you. So I think Lando should even raise a sort of, not an ego, but just that self-confidence that you have already built for yourself. But you know what? I can do this. I'm here for a reason. I have a place in this competition. So I think I just also want to say to you as well, don't rule yourself out, because you said, I did not even think I would rank there. And look at what happened now in the top 5. And that was you being yourself, being authentic to who you are. That just means that there's that light inside of you, Jabunyani, that is clearly radiating and has garnered you genuine support from people. Yeah, I should always just keep that in mind.
Affirmation. That was just great affirmation. That was just like great affirmation.
Sure. Now, when it comes to pageants, there's this misconception that it's all about the glitz and the glam and looks and things like that. But would you say that you personally agree with that?
I don't. Back in the day, maybe, yes. It was all about beauty. And we did hear say that people mentioning inner beauty and all of that, but we didn't really understand what it was.
What it means.
Because when we follow pageants, we used to just sit and watch it on TV. And what we see on TV is pretty much outer beauty. Because if it's a ladies pageant, they walk in bikinis, flat tummies, and beautiful ball gowns and all of that. If it's guys, a six-pack and
you see perfection.
You see perfection, which is why I never wanted to enter. I wanted to, but I never felt perfect enough because of what I've seen before. But there's been great evolution if you follow pageants. If you're a fan, you would know.
Oh, I'm a big believer of them.
I'm a huge fan. Since I remember 1996 when Peggy Sukumalo was crowned Miss SA. I used to sit and have a book. Okay, by the way, early this morning I had a book on my hand and I was judging the Miss Universe preliminary judging.
Yes, I watched those.
So, there has been great evolution.
Yes.
Now we get to see exactly what it is that these girls and these men do. For instance, Mr. South Africa. The best thing about this organization is that they don't discriminate. Age, you always see there everything once up to age 25, up to age 28, up to age 30.
Yes.
You have to be single, you don't have to have kids, you mustn't be married, you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that. There's always these limiting factors. With Mr. South Africa, that's not the case. We want you as round as you are, or as thin, or as thick, or as dark, or as light as you are. If you have 5 kids, it is okay.
It's fine.
Have 5 kids. It's okay to be a dad.
Yeah.
That's what Mr. South Africa is saying. It is okay to be a husband, to be a man of the household. That's what Mr. South Africa is saying. So they are bringing these guys. Now, you're grooming these men. You want to put a stable into the community to say it's not just about beauty. Look at the previous winners. I'm not saying they're not good winners or whatever, but what I'm saying is
there's a variety.
It's not a guy that you wouldn't meet walking in the street to buy a loaf of bread at the shop at the corner there.
And people relate to that.
Guys that you can relate to. You don't have these guys with perfect bodies, with perfect English, with perfect faces. No. So that's why it felt okay to do it at this particular point in time, because there's a lot that is happening, and we get to hear a lot about what they have to say. They've got campaigns. Different campaigns, like people that are running and different things that they are doing in their communities. And these are the things that we want to see. These are the things that we are relating to, you see. So it's not about beauty anymore. It's about the beauty in the work that they do. Because trust me, there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Of course.
I might walk on stage in a beautiful linen suit, but it's not about that. I'm going to take off the suit and I'm going to go into the ground and I'm going to do the work. And you actually see the work. You see the results. The work that has been put in place is truly amazing.
You know, that's actually very encouraging. You know, that the fact that at first you said no because of what we used to seeing on the TV. You know, we see slim models, be it male or females, and you know, no pimples, 6-packs, abs, and things like that. So I think that is encouraging for people to know that, you know what, just the way, no matter how you look, no matter what your weight is, no matter what your background is to actually literally go after your dreams, no matter what. If it's something that you're passionate about, go, because you never know if that could be your turning point. You don't know, because at first you had a fear of, no, is this actually the competition for me? But I do not look like the magazine type of, you know, men. Will I actually be accepted here? But that's not what Mr. South Africa is about. It's basically saying, come as you are.
So we're looking for men that are going to be role models, not just models.
Role models.
So that's what drew me. Yeah, drew the correct word into the competition. To say, okay, you know what, I can do this.
And how has your journey, Jabu, been so far? Have you taken any lessons from it?
I have. I have. The journey, more than anything, teaches you to be humble. It teaches. There's a fine line. You mentioned it, ego. There's there's a fine line between being overconfident and ego and being humble and all those things. It has taught me to remain humble and remain true to myself. We don't need an ahead. So I need to guard myself against that. And I need to remind myself of the reasons why I did this. I keep on saying that when it was just my dream, I didn't follow through with it. Because I saw so many imperfections within myself. But when it became a dream of others, then I followed through because it was no longer about me. I want to carry that with me so that it can remind me, even if I do win, even after the crown, even if I haven't won, it must remind me why I actually did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't to motivate myself. It was to use my story to motivate others. It is therefore no longer about it. It's like God is using me as a vessel to uplift His people, you know. So that's what I've been learning. In as much as you get excited because people know you, people start recognizing you, your following starts increasing. To an extent, like in any other person, you are a human being. Those things excite you for a moment, but you need to take yourself a step back, and you're like, okay, now you were excited for that moment. Calm down. Focus on the goal. What? Yes. For me, the goal is not to win the crown, but to touch one person's life.
And I think you have, to be quite honest.
It's to touch one person's life. That's for me. I would have done what I've been sent to do.
Now, in this journey of Mr. SA, what do you hope to achieve?
For myself?
Yes.
I think I'm achieving it already. By sitting here is me achieving.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be one specific thing like saying the crown or the sash or the prizes or whatever. It would be growth. And you don't get given growth as a voucher. You don't get given growth as an e-wallet into your bank account. It's a process.
That's powerful.
It's like you build on growth. So for me, it's growth. By the time I'm done with Mr. South Africa, I need to go look back and when I listen to my interviews and be like, who is that guy? He is so powerful. You know, I need to be able to go back and rebuild myself by just listening to myself speak. So it's for me, it's growth, and it's an everyday thing.
Of course,
it's an everyday thing.
It's a process. It's not an overnight thing. How can people at home support you throughout your journey for Mr. South Africa?
People have been doing a great job. Let's start there. Not just by voting, but the texts that they send. You wake up with an inbox saying, I got your back. Sometimes you had just gone through a difficult time, or something is bothering you in your life, because challenges are not going to stop coming just now. You're Mr. SA contestant.
Yeah.
So life is still continuing.
Life continues.
Still happening. So there are those odd days where you feel like, oh, you know what? And then a text comes in and you look and you're like, wow, I just saw your interview, or I just saw your post, you're doing a great job. And you're like, and you're reminded. Yes, we want people to vote. People can vote, but that's, for me, that's been the amazing part to it. The messages that are coming through, the messages of support.
Like you said, words of affirmation, there's power.
To say that we're with you. Someone said yesterday, a comment, I posted something on our Facebook page, and about me being sick and all, and someone said, they inboxed me and said, it's happening, but you must remember that you must still go and get your crown. For a moment there, it felt so good to see that people see beyond what is really happening now. So those things are support enough. They push you to want to do better. They push you to want to be better. They push you to want to see the greater picture as well. Not just for yourself, but for your community as well. So yeah, that's what people can still continue to do, because I love those. And also people can do the voting.
What's your Facebook page, just for those that want to obviously now follow your journey?
All right, there's my own personal page is Jabulani Mathebula, and then we have the J for Mr. SA. Is it J for Mr. I think it's J.
It's fine. We'll put the link in just so to give them access.
Mr. SA 2021. So that's where we do the updates of where we need to be and all of that. So yeah, it's growing. It's growing.
Jabu, honestly, thank you so much for giving me your time. It has been a pleasure, honestly, speaking to you today. It's been so wonderful, and I wish you all the best for the Mr. SA journey. I'm going to be following it, by the way, because I'm so inspired. I'm going to be following it, and I'm rooting for you, and I really, really wish you all the best for every other project that you're still going to do. And that was Conversations with Funeka. Until next time.